myself or the arresting officer.
And just to clarify, the subject is the person who's about to take the breathalyzer.
Exactly.
Now, this observation period is very important, isn't it?
It is.
During this time, you make sure that all mouth alcohol has a time to dissolve, right?
Yes, mouth alcohol can be caused by things like breath mints, mouthwash, dental work, and burping, or vomiting.
Now, let's talk about mouth alcohol just for a moment. Mouth alcohol simply is a particle of alcohol that's found in our mouth, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, that alcohol is not in our blood,
No, it's not.
and therefore it doesn't contribute to our intoxication,
Exactly.
nor does it contribute to our level of blood alcohol content.
No, it does not.
Now, you earlier told us the different types of mouth alcohol, such as mints, right?
Yes.
Burping,
Yes.
heartburn.
Yes.
Now, when you do your observation period, you make sure that none of those physical characteristics, none of those actions occur, right?
Exactly.
And you've been trained to be able to make these observations, right?
Yes, I've been trained to know what to look for, and I also train the officers here in Midlands about what to look for as well.
And you've been educated within this field,
I am.
and you've been performing these observations hundreds of times.
That's right.
And that training, education, and experience that you use for these observation periods is the same education, training, and experience to administer the breathalyzer, right?
No. As I said, I train the officers for what to look for here in Midlands, because like I said, those officers are normally who perform and observe that 15-minute period. So they don't really need my background and education
Doctor,
to observe someone.
Doctor, for your observations, that's based on the same education, training, and experience that prepared you to administer those breathalyzers. It's for your observations, not for anyone else, right?
No, for the general observation period, you do not need my background.
So you don't need to know anything about what to look for when you are performing this observation? You don't need any type of experience or training?
That's not what I said, sir. I train the officers on what to look for. They take my word for it because I've had that background.
Doctor, I'm not asking you about what you've taught anyone else.
I'm sorry, I must have misunderstood your question.
For your own observations, you rely on your education, training, and experience, don't you?
Yes,
And that's the same education, training, and experience that you use to prepare yourself for the breathalyzer.
for administering the test, yes.
Now let's begin talking about the evening of September 24th and the morning of the 25th.
Okay.
You were in the lab that morning, right?
Yes, I was calibrating my machines.
And that was because Miss Dawson was about to come down to the station.
Well, no, I was actually recalibrating all of my machines before Miss Dawson came in. That's actually why I was in the station at that time.
However, you were told that Miss Dawson would be coming down, right?
Yes.
And she did come up into your office that morning,
Yes, she did.
and you began observing her, right?
That's correct.
Now, you personally only observed her for 5 minutes, right?
No.
Is it your testimony today that you yourself did not observe her for longer than 5 minutes?
No, that is not my testimony today. I actually observed Miss Dawson for over 20 minutes, from the time that Officer Foster brought her into the station to the time I administered that first air blank in the Intoxilizer 8000.
The observation period that you told us about was only for 5 minutes, wasn't it?
No.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
If you'd like me to explain, I'd be happy to.
Just one moment, Doctor.
Okay.
Doctor, after your observational period, that is when Miss Dawson was submitted to the breathalyzer, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Now, you would agree with me that based off all of her character, all the actions that she portrayed during this observation period, you believed that she would have a blood alcohol concentration around the legal limit?
Around or above 0.08, all of her actions were consistent with moderate to heavy drinking.
So you believe that when you submitted her to that breathalyzer, it would come back with a reading around 0.08?
Around or above. Thankfully, I have my machine to give me concrete proof, and it was nowhere near 0.08.
And when you were actually quite surprised by this, weren't you?
Yes, based on what Ms. Dawson told me, she shouldn't have been around that point, but considering how much higher her BAC was,
Doctor,
got
you
it.
were surprised at the difference between the 0.08 that you were expecting to see and the 0.19, which the machine actually read, correct?
Yes, I was surprised at how high it was.
Can you tell us which is correct, your observation conclusion that she would be at around 0.08 or the machine?
The machine.
So you believe that the education, training, and experience that you used to perform these observations did not prepare you in order to make this observation with a .08?
Sir, we have machines to give us concrete proof. I only administer the test, and the machine does the work for me. My education, my background, that's only to administer those tests.
You would agree with me that your observations and the conclusion that you drew of .08 was wrong? Yes or no?
My observation and my guess of what her BAC was wrong. Thankfully, we have the Intoxilizer 8000 to give us the correct reading.
Nothing further.
Your Honor, we have nothing further. May the witness step down.